It had all the elements of a courtroom thriller. In the dock, high-profile politicians, business tycoons and their pawns. Proceedings in 2019 started with a bang.
Vincent Smith, 45,000 rand. Magagula, 30,000 rand. Winingwenya, 20,000 rand.
Explosive evidence from former Bosasa COO implicating senior politicians in corruption at the company.
So what did he say about these 300,000 rand?
He said he personally delivered it to Jacob Zuma, put the bag next to him and said, and asked him the question, does Dudu give you your money every month? And the answer was yes.
In testimony that more than 80 people were in Bosasa's bribery payroll, including ministers.
The monthly amount was 50,000 rand. I would have to pack it and he often would deliver it in front of me.
Also, sometimes you went to Ms. Nomfola Mokonyane's house with him.
Yes.
But at the heart of the commission's probe, the reach of the Gupta brothers' influence. Former Deputy Finance Minister Mcebisi Jonas testified that he was offered a ministerial job by the family. Jonas returned to the commission in March.
The version of Mr. Gupta, he concludes by saying that there were no offers made at all to you, be it monetary or ministerial position.
I don't agree.
The relationship between the former president and the Gupta family scrutinized.
There came a point in his administration where he could not separate, even in his state of mind, the personal relationship with the Guptas from his responsibility as the head of the national executive with certain constitutional obligations and requirements. All things started to be seen through the same prism and created enormous complications.
I'm now convinced that the Gupta family was not an accident of history. There was a more intelligent operation to capture the state and use it for personal gain.
And damning claims that the criminal justice system was also captured.
These prosecutors that I'm mentioning in my statement acted at the behest of Advocate Jiba, who was doing the bidding of the then state president, Mr. Jacob Zuma, and also Richard Ndluli.
In July, the much anticipated evidence of the former president. But the most implicated person at the commission claimed there was a conspiracy against him.
People are part of the plot to kill me. Perhaps it is important that before I die, I tell the story. For me, the matter is bigger than it meets the eye.
He's also accused comrades of being spies.
What made Comrade Nwako to behave the way he did here? He was recruited when he was a student in Lesotho to be a spy.
Zuma defended his friendship with the Guptas.
I've never did anything with them, unlawfully or whatever. They just remained friends.
But his time in the hot seat was cut short.
Essentially what is going on now is that Mr. Pretorius is cross-examining Mr. Zuma.
With claims that he was being ambushed.
We've come to tell you, Chair, that because of this and the reservations we've raised and our experience in this room, that my client has instructed me that he will take no further part in these proceedings. He respected you, he still does, he respects this commission, but the commission does not seem to know its ground rules.
We are not going to proceed today with the hearing of the former president's evidence so that this can be done, and then he will come back later on.
His son testified in October. Duduzane Zuma made some concessions.
I'm obviously the one that came up with the venue. That's when we decided to make a move.
Did Mr. Jonas know where you were going?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
Did you mention the name of the owner of the property, the family?
Yes, I did.
But downplayed his role.
I'm looked at as a criminal. I'm looked at as this face of corruption. this guy that's plundered trillions out of this country, which is not the case, by the way. So I'd just like to say to the public out there, I'm not corrupt. I'm not taking any money from anybody. I never have, and I never will.
And claims that he too was being targeted.
I've said it before and I'm saying it again. I believe I'm unfortunately caught in a political storm.
Jacob Zuma missed his next scheduled appearance in November due to ill health. The Commission is considering a possible subpoena. 2020 will also see other high-profile politicians taking the stand, among them President Cyril Ramaphosa and the former Mineral Resources Minister Mosebenzi Zwane. The Commission is expected to conclude its work next year, with a report expected in 2021. Manqoba Mchunu, SABC News, Johannesburg.